This was a pretty interesting game here. There was a lot going on the board. So for one thing, I immediately saw investment, and I was happy because this is one of the best fours, in my opinion, there is. Also, wait, Baron is really good. As long as your deck stays tight and you can hit estates when you hit Baron, obviously never play him if you don't have an estate. He's also pretty dang good. But Remake, that's a very good deck thinning card. It's no Chapel, but you don't even want cards as powerful as Chapel to begin with, so that's sweet. Uh-oh, Secret Passage. This is a combo enabler, and it really greases the wheels of a machine. So immediately I see that there's too many good fours. So I'll probably ignore Baron because we have good deck thinning, so those estates are going to go away. Also, when you deck thin with this, the estates become silvers. Even less reason to have Baron. And investment trashing one card on your treasure turn, as great as that is, trashing two cards as an action to upgrade them, that's pretty good too. So probably going to lean heavy on Remake when I see this board. And then let's look at Fishing Village. +2 actions, +1 money. Starting next turn, +1 action, +1 money. That's great. It's like a silver with all upsides. Granted, the money's spread out, but it is still a 3 that gives you 2 money, net money. Lurker. Oh, this is kind of a complicated card because depending upon the skill level of players, you might never see anything good or you might see too many good things. But looking at turn order, Jeremy is playing Zero Game is playing after Bubbling, so I would be playing after Zero, so I'm probably not going to get too many great hits from Lurker. Either he's going to steal him or he's not going to put anything good up there. And when he does put something good up there, like King's Court, he's the one taking it. Lurker's still a good pick though, because getting multiple Lurkers in a turn means you're getting free King's Courts. Really, really solid. Minion. I played against Minion where I didn't buy Minion, and I started every turn with 4 cards in hand and no way to refill my hand. I lost that game miserably. Wait a minute. If I do Minion, and my money is Fishing Villages, and all actions, and basically ignore money, then I could do this in my deck. So I got 6 of the Minions, 4 of the Fishing Villages. I was aiming for more Fishing Villages. I think I actually spent 5 money to get a Fishing Village once, or I know for sure that I spent 4 money to get a Fishing Village at once. So, basically, Secret Passage, like I said, it greases the wheels. So if I have that and 2 minions in my hand, I can just put a minion in the next set of 4 cards I draw. And also, this breaks even on actions. And because of all the Fishing Villages, I'm really solid on actions and a consistent source of money. So, because of Remake, the 2s and 3s, mostly the 3s, are going to be taxed pretty heavily. The Lurkers did end up getting taxed because I would remake Lurkers a lot and then just grab Lurkers once they were trashed. See, there's no actions in the trash pile at all because of all the Lurkers in the game. And yeah, it was a really fun board. So the idea of my deck was to always hit one of my minions. Let's see, I was at 21 plus 5, so I was at 26 cards, with 6 of them being minions, so that's fairly consistent. Secret Passage hitting a lot means I draw 2 cards and I could spread my minions out, or spread out my Lurkers to try to just hit 2 Lurkers in one turn, which I only had 2 Lurkers, but I had 3 King's Courts. So that's pretty good. I'm not even sure I got up to 3. I guess I got 2 Lurkers. And the Fishing Villages, make sure that you have plenty of actions going, because you get the bonus action for the second turn and the bonus action for the first turn. So as long as you're getting 1 or 2 of those a turn, you can really draw through your deck. And the minion replaces his action. So if I see my deck, the dead end cards, the ones that don't replace their action, was Remake and Jester. As long as I didn't draw an opening hand with too many Remakes and Jesters, I had solid turns. And I got pretty lucky. My deck performed exactly as I wanted it to. So, yeah. I ended the game by just buying out the last minion. So really my deck, up to the final round, only had 5 or less minions in it. Let's have a look at the other decks. Bubbling had the one Lurker, and Bubbling drew the Lurker more often than early game, she was the one who played basically the first 2 Lurkers. So the first Lurker, she made a smart decision not to put something there because she knew we had Lurkers. Second time she played Lurker, she put a Jester there. Jeremy grabbed it. Third time she put another Jester there, and I grabbed it. So there was a lot of Jesters in this game. And let's go back to the decks. And Secret Passage, solid, Vault. So she kind of got flooded with Vaults. So Vault, to me, was a trap card. It was a card that doesn't give you actions, doesn't replace itself, and you're likely to draw actions off of Vault because this wasn't necessarily a money-heavy game. There was no platinum to worry about. Fishing Village was, like I said, I feel like Fishing Village is just straight better than a silver, so I was buying that heavily. So playing a Vault and drawing into a Fishing Village probably felt pretty bad. 3 curses. Oh, she never actually got the Jesters that she put into trash. We always stole them. And then here is Zero Game, Jeremy's. He got Lurker flooded. So every time I got a Jester and saw that he had a Lurker, I would just give him an extra Lurker. So he ended up with a ton of Lurkers, which you will note that Lurker, solid for a 2. It replaces its action. It gives you some flexibility. Drawing 2 is great. Also, drawing 1 in a King's Court, that's good as well, because depending upon if there's an action, if there's not an action here you want, you just throw a King's Court, and then your second Lurker, you take the King's Court, and your third Lurker, you either burn a Lurker, which I always burned Lurkers with Lurkers, because I don't mind if my opponents got flooded with them. And even if they drew 2, that's still a good chunk of their turn. But hopefully, with more Lurkers, they're actually putting more actions here, so it gives me more options as well. Didn't really work out that way, but it didn't really matter. Yeah, and then he ended up with the Jesters. I think I cloned one of his Jesters on his pile when I played my own Jester. And he ended up with a Vault as well. 3 King's Courts. Pretty solid deck. 3 silver, 2 gold. He had way more money than me. I only had... I just realized how little money I actually had. I was leaning pretty heavily on those fishing villages, because 1 silver and 2 copper is a very low money deck. But the game also wasn't very high scoring. As you can see, like my 3 provinces were the high score. And then solid money on Bubbling. Bubbling had a pretty good economy going in her deck, but the curses kind of flooded her out, and she forgot rule number 1, which is deck thinning. Deck thinning. I emphasize it. I can never emphasize it enough. She never got a remake. She never got an investment. Her deck got flooded with curses. Probably slowed her down quite a bit. Also, she was playing 4-card hands every turn without an ability to draw a second set of hands, because she never picked up her own minion, and we were probably playing minions all over her. So all in all, really fun board, really enjoyable setup. I would play this again, although the strategy was fairly degenerate. Like, you could see this is kind of a degenerate game. Really strong cards getting ignored, which is crazy. Traps. I think this was a trap. Although, to be clear, okay, it's not as much of a trap because we all had the ability to get really easy, really solid extra action cards that stretched over 2 turns. So this was a solid card, advantage card. And I mean, it does let you ditch your VP cards and various other cards for bonus coins. And discarding 2 cards to draw a card, it's actually something I don't do as often as you'd think. So, really cool board. I don't think there were really any weak cards on this board. Like I said, I think Vault was the weakest.